Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Fights. Today we are going to discuss a new opening, that is the CaroKann defense. So this will be an introductory lesson for the CaroKann defense. I will explain some basic ideas, plus I will try to show one line against the CaroKann defense. So let's get started. E4, C6. This is the beginning of the CaroKann defense. The idea is to play d5. So black wants to play d5. Similarly, like see French defense, black plays e6 and d5. We know to direct d5, ed5, queen d5, and then knight c3, the queen gets attacked. So I have covered that in my topic of center counter defense. Black plays c6 so that he is able to control the d5, which is pawn. So after white takes with the pawn, black doesn't want to take with the queen, he wants to recapture with the pawn. So now what happens here is white will get some central space, and one disadvantage that black will have is the b8 knight can have some problems developing depending on which variation white chooses. The play is very solid for black, there are no particular weaknesses in the position. So d4, d5. And here white has choice between four moves. One is e5, like we did in the French defense, advanced variation of CaroKann this is. Secondly, there is knight c3, this is considered to be the main line. Knight develops, attacks d5 and supports the e4 pawn. So development with attack, although d5 is currently protected properly. Then there is knight d2 also, similar idea, but it blocks the bishop. And there is finally the move ed5. Today we are going to look at the move ed5. The main reason for me to choose this opening is it will be very easy for players those who are new to the game. And later on we will prepare another main line after the move cd5. Here one very important main line is the move c4, okay, which is called panopotminic attack. That I will be covering up in some other lesson. It is bit for advanced players, but we are going to look into that line later on. Okay. So today the line which I am suggesting will be very easy for beginners. We will choose a simple developing line where the pieces, white's pieces will come out nicely, and we will try to focus on attacking the black king. So it will go very well with our other topics of attacking the castled king. In CaroKann defense, main idea is to keep the c8 bishop opened. So white now sees that the c8 bishop is eyeing for the f5 and g4 square. So immediately here he plays the bishop first. See, generally we always develop the knight before the bishop and the king side first. Here many people play the move knight c3, which actually is not that great because d5 is already protected. Okay, in this case. So knight c3 is not really development with attack. And the setup which we are choosing, in that the knight doesn't belong to c3. We will see why. So bishop d3. Now black usually goes for nc6. nf6 can also transpose. So nc6 attacking d4. Knight f3. And now if black plays e6, his bishop will be stuck. So the main idea of this opening is bishop wants to come out. Do note that playing c3 would have given black some chance after e5. Black would create strong play in the center. Okay, so nf3, bishop g4. So the bishop develops, attacks the knight, pins the knight. So whenever knight is pinned, your center gets attacked. See, now knight into d4 is one possibility. Although knight d4 doesn't work immediately. Immediately knight d4 is blunder. Because knight d4, bishop d1, then bb5 check. Black has to give up his queen, and after taking it, white gets a piece. So knight into d4 is not a threat, but the threat is bishop f3, queen f3, knight d4. That is the threat. So the d4 pawn is actually attacked over here. So white plays c3. Many people suggest the move bishop e3 here. But after bishop e3, the bishop will come in between the pawns. And this is not a very active place for the c1 bishop. So white plays c3, black does nf6, white develops bg5, here bg5 and castle. both are very much playable. E6 controlling the f6 knight, it is supporting with the queen now and opens the bishop. Main idea is to open the bishop. So now white is about to complete his development. We can say same for black also. So now castle. Now black can choose between two bishop moves. Bishop can come to e7 or bishop can come to d6. Then we will consider b7 because we want to, black wants to unpin his knight by playing the bishop to e7. Okay, white goes nd2. The main purpose of this setup, keeping the knight on d2, is the queen wants to be freed. Right now, say if the queen comes to c2, then bishop f3 and we have to take with the g pawn. So the king position will be weak. So what white wants? White wants to free his knight. Okay, this f3 knight he wants to protect and free the queen. Okay, so now queen can go to c2 easily and we are going to try to attack the h7 square. So castle. And now qc2. So one of the basics of attacking the castled position, as we have seen in our many attack the castled king lessons, what we have learnt is we force one of the pawn to move. Once one pawn moves in front of the king side becomes slightly weak, and then we try that we can force the opponent to move one more pawn. So that can give us serious advantage. So here black has choice between g6 and h6. Let us understand what is the threat now. By playing queen to c2, white wants to take bf6 and then do bishop h7 check, winning the pawn, and then the bishop can just retreat, it won't get trapped over there. Second benefit of having queen on c2 is now this bishop will not have place on f5 square because two attacks on f5. So white can try to attack by h3 and force the bishop to be given for the f3 knight. Okay, so that is his second idea in white. Firstly, how to defend h7. So mostly according to me, best g6 will create more holes in the position, and instantly after the move h3, now bh5 render because we can take on f6 and go g4 and the bishop would be trapped. The reason for taking on f6 first is after bf6, g4, there is no knight g4. Otherwise knight g4, hg, bg4 would have given two pawns for the piece. But now there will be only one pawn and the bishop is trapped. So after g6, h3, bf3, knight f3. So what we actually feel here, if you look at the position, black has basically traded his bishop for this knight because this knight remains as it is. So this bishop got traded for this knight, and this we can call as a very good exchange. Now we see that h6 and f6 squares are weak. So the plan for white would be very simple. This queen will try to come to h4. See, from d2, f4, h4. Okay, this is a very good plan. And then knight wants to come to e5 at some point. So what we can do? We can get the queen to d2, f4, prepare one of the rooks to e1, either a rook to e1 or f rook to e1, and go knight e5. This position will be very good. See, imagine the queen going from d2, f4 to h4, and then after rook e1, knight e5, de5. So this bishop plays a role, and even the rook usually gets transferred like this from e3 to g3. The reason for playing a rook would be if white wants to play f4, f5 and break the king side position. So this would be the position white would like to aim for. So h6 is a far better option. Let's go back to the position. After queen c2, black should play the move h6, attacking the bishop and putting question what he wants to do with the bishop. So white usually goes bishop h4, okay, preserving the bishop, and at a right moment we will decide when to do bf6 or whether to give it at all. So now black plays the move rook c8. See, black has the semi-open file. He wants to use it for his rook. The idea of rook c8 usually is to go in b4 and snatch this powerful attacking bishop. Okay, of course bishop is not lost. White can play qb1 and d3, qd3, but the useful bishop would be lost. So white plays the move a3. What has happened? Development is roughly over. So for any successful preparation, opening preparation, what we should know? We should know how the pieces are developed and what is the plan from that position. Further, where the pieces are going to be posted and how we will attack, where we will attack. First, let us look at two moves for black. One main idea is to just develop. So black players can consider the move rook e8, idea to move the knight to e4 or d7. Second option is instantly going with the move knight h5. So it puts question to the bishop, again attacks the bishop, and after bishop into e7, queen e7, this knight will get a good place on f4. So let's look at the move knight h5 first. So after knight h5, bishop comes to g3, not allowing knight f4. Now many will ask, we are surrendering the bishop so early, but after knight g3, fg3, we see that the rook's file is open and white has a very good plan here. Let's look at a few moves here. Suppose rook e8 now, then it will play to white's hand very nicely. h3. Now we see bh5 loses on the spot. After bh5, g4, bishop g6, we take and queen into g6, and we win a pawn and the queen enters the black king side. To take bishop f3, knight takes f3. Do note that in the absence of f3 knight, there will be knight into d4 tactic because rook is creating pin on the c file. So knight takes f3. Now d4 is guarded nicely, and this queen will now look to again transfer to the. That is why we are doing h3 time and again, because after bf3 knight f3, the queen will get space to transfer to the king side. Many will argue that see rook e8 was useless, f7 is becoming weak. Very true. Black should play on the queen side. We will discuss that also. And now white has a plan of going rook f2 and ra f1 and then move the knight. So do note that before moving the knight, we have to stop nd4. So the queen can either go to e2, then knight e5, and then this queen can go to h5 square, creating attack on f7. Do note that if black would have played something like a6 b5 by now, instead of rook e8, white plan would have been same, and white would have moved the queen to d2 or e2 and then going to the move knight e5 again. If the knight is taken, queen can also take, pawn can also take. White has plans like bishop c2 qd3, forcing one more pawn to move. White has plans like putting pressure on f7 with the move queen h5. White also has plans, if not taken, to go knight g4 and sacrifice on h6 squares. Okay, now let's look at the move rook e8 instead of nh5. So after rook e8, again white goes with the standard idea, h3 first. Now forcing bishop f3, again bishop h5 allows g4. So bishop f3, knight takes f3. As I told you, this exchange has really helped white. Queen is now eyeing the d2 and d2 squares to transfer to the king side. And now here again to the move knight h5, we can do bg3. Black can try the plan a6, b5, b4. Now white can move the rook to e1. See, if f pawn would have taken, then we would have brought the a rook. But now easily we can play f rook to e1. To knight h5, again we can do bg3, no problem. bg3, fg3, and the queen will move to d2 and we will soon plan to go knight e5. So after the move b5, queen d2, or maybe go for the move qb6, protecting b5 first, then also plan remains the same. Knight goes to e5, and after a5, white will simply double the rooks. See, rook will come to e3, and we know that after knight e5, de5, we are going to transfer this rook to g3. So after the move b4, note that black's play is coming on the queen side, and after taking on ab, we can just play the move rook g3. So immediately now the pieces are getting transferred. Queen h6 is becoming a threat. Something has to be done to defend here. If knight moves, then nf7 goes. So we can say that after knight e5, de5, this position is now perhaps winning because knight is attacked and queen h6 is threat. So here black's timing we can say has gone wrong, and white is about to get a very strong attack. Okay, do not the moves like rook at knight h5 all the time. Knight attacks the rook and bishop attacks the bishop. So in this particular case, we have got the move rook g4. Okay, we have also got the interesting move bishop takes e7. Okay, if knight takes g3, then the intermezzo bishop c5 attacking the queen and taking pawn into knight. So we will have got two pieces for the rook in that position, and the position would be absolutely good for white. And after the move, see, queen can go to c7, okay, trying to attack the knight, then just knight into c6 followed by f into g. So this position we can say is very good for white. This was a relatively simple line for white, and I have decided to take up openings in such a way that lines should be easily playable for those who are new to the game also, and after some time I will make an advanced opening line also, which will be good for higher rated players also. So I hope you are enjoying these lessons. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.